Hi, Dad. Welcome back to another episode of Dave and Andy's Honest About Life. How are you?
I'm doing well, buddy. Thank you very much for having me again. It's amazing how I end up with you every week.
I'm glad we do this. We set aside this time to have this conversation to capture our interactions. It really is. It's fantastic.
It is great.
So we this session will be fairly short, but I reached out to Marshall, your brother, to ask him for some questions that I could ask you, or just reminisce about some funny episodes that happened back when you two were young. So he gave me a couple ideas. I don't. Did he tell you
Oh
that I did this?
no.
So he's
What?
so he's just we love Marshall to death. He's so funny.
Yeah.
He said I used to make your dad laugh so much when we played the old mechanical hockey game that you used to pee your
This
pants.
is his go-to every time. You know, he wanted to have me wear a depend. I think, what the heck?
He
Why
said you were
okay.
8, 9, or 10. I mean, it must have been funny. Do you remember those days?
I cannot forget him. I will always remember. Yeah, he'd make me we'd be sitting on the floor. And these were mechanical. I loved hockey, and it was mechanical hockey where you'd spin your thing, and the hockey guy would go around. But it also had a goalie that would go back and forth, left and right, in front of the goal. Right. Well, he was so damn good. Excuse my French, but he would take the guy off, so I would be a post, and I still couldn't score a goal. He'd take the guy off, and it would just be the post going back and forth. He could block all my shots with just that little post that the guy went on, and he'd take him off, and he that would make him laugh too. But I mean, I laughed so hard that it just, yeah, it was
That
fun.
must have been great though, because you were competitive, but at the same time, you really enjoyed competing with him. I mean, there's
Yeah,
something, that is fantastic.
yeah. It's something about a brother that's 8 years older than you too. So you're just
Yeah.
far enough away, so you're not bugging them, and you're close enough to still enjoy some of the similar things. But I'm sure I bugged him when I was younger, and he was 8 years older than me, but he always took me in. He always helped me out. He would had my back all the time, like on the playground or when I was out with friends around the neighborhood. If somebody was picking on me, he'd be there for me, and I'll never forget that.
That's what you'd want from a sibling, is to be protected.
Yeah,
And wow, yeah,
he had
I'm
my
I'm
back.
sure. Love him to death. One other point that he brought up when I reached out to him is the one about, and this speaks to your interest in weather. He says he'd always remember when he'd be yelling at you to get in the cabin. This is probably up at Big Marine, when there was a
Yes.
big storm coming in, and it was probably coming across the lake, and you just wouldn't come in. And he was, again, protecting you,
Yeah.
but he remembers yelling at you, you know, come on
Yes,
in,
I
Dave.
I loved to watch the storm come in, and I just love to be out there and feel the differences in the atmosphere and things changing as that storm was approaching, and the electricity in the atmosphere. It was something you couldn't feel if you were inside. So I just love to watch it come. And yeah, I probably stayed out there a little too long a couple of times. Got hit in the head with some golf ball size hail.
That explains.
explains a lot in my life,
It
but
does. It really does. So, I'm sure he has more, and I believe he's going to reach back out and share those with me. So it's that's really part of the fun too of having this conversation with you, is to be able to bring up some of those memories, and the ones that we really cherish, the ones that were so meaningful, and capture them forever
yeah,
is really what it's all about. Before we go, um, because we're talking about when you were young and a brother of yours, there's also, I remember when your brother Danny passed away, something that was very powerful, which was, I don't remember which one of your family members, it might have been your brother Marshall, who brought it up during the funeral, but
yes, I know what you're going to say. I really
where am
do.
I going? Where am
He's
I going with this?
he's not heavy. He's my brother.
Yeah,
He said that during the funeral, because Marshall used to carry him around a lot, because mom and dad were getting too old to carry him. And my brother Danny was 6 months developed, 6 months brain, but he was a huge guy. And
right.
Marshall would carry him around, and everybody would say, "Isn't he heavy?" And Marshall would say, "It's not heavy. He's my brother."
Yeah. It
Awesome.
was it was powerful too, and everybody. I mean, your dad used to carry Danny around too, and I mean the kind of care and love. that you all provided to Danny meant that he could live to the age of what, 35, when he wasn't supposed to live past.
Yeah, at the teenager, they thought he would never live beyond a teenager, and mom and dad's love kept him around, and we loved having him around, obviously.
Yeah. So I went out and looked to see who was the band that sang that song. He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother. It was. Do you know who it is?
Jeez, I wanted to say the Beatles, but I don't know.
The
I don't know.
Holly.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Yeah, very cool.
So before we go, we have a minute. We got to figure out that actor who plays the banjo. What's his who's the actor that Steve Martin.
Oh, yes. How could we forget? Yes, that's true.
Steve Martin. So it's again, this is, harkening back to a previous session, we were talking about, comedians in serious roles. I mean, I don't know. Can you take him serious in a serious role? Maybe.
Probably not.
Anyway, Dad, wonderful to be with you again. Thank you for your time.
Yep, I love this, Andy. You don't know how much I love this.
I do too. I do too. Have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to the next time.
Sounds perfect. Thank you, buddy. Love you.
Love you, Dad.